Welcome to the Merge Feast, the podcast where we satisfy your cravings for all things Survivor. We're your hosts, Sam and Mags, and this is a recap for Season 45, Episode 8. One of the better episodes of the season, if I do say so myself. What did you think of the episode?
Loved it.
Oh.
Absolutely.
You had me worried there for a second. You made a face like maybe you weren't going to love it. And I was going to be embarrassed with how I opened.
No, I definitely loved this episode. A lot of Survivor hits. Let's do it. Let's get into this thing.
All right. Let's get into it. Previously on Survivor. That was okay. It's not one of my best.
Yeah.
We talk about Bruce's idol that he's got in his pocket. It kind of recaps that. Once again, foreshadowing like it may come into play here. And they recap what happened last episode with the two people going home. Showing, of course, Sifu that, to be honest, I forgot about Sifu going home. But then after that, we get the tribal council where Caleb goes home. Really the most important thing that happened.
Yeah, the thing I've been thinking about all week.
Yeah, the star of the season went home. But at least he made it to the jury. He becomes the first member of the jury, and that all gets recapped before the episode begins here.
My mom, who doesn't watch Survivor, has never watched Survivor, and just listens to our podcast, texts me right after our episode aired, all caps, "Caleb goes home." No! Even people who don't know Caleb love him.
That's right. We get to the after the vote. We're back at the beach that night on the Merge Beach, and it's the first group. They get home after voting out Sifu. Emily and Drew are psyched to have solidified a little bit of trust. They work together, and they're happy that they have kind of a new alliance that's been born. And the rest of them they're just kind of sitting there waiting to find out who gets voted out from that second group.
Yeah.
The second group gets back, and they find out that Caleb has gone home. And they tell him the voting splits. Jake and Caleb voted for Julie, and everybody else voted for Caleb.
I wanted a reaction shot from Emily here, but we didn't get one.
Yeah. Her best friend in the game just went home.
Yeah.
Kind of tragic for her.
Right.
But yeah, we don't get that at all. Instead, we get Bruce getting mad at Jake for not conforming.
Yeah.
How dare you vote out of line? You've ruined all of my plans. Bruce wasn't even there, of course.
Yeah. And we get a talking head from Jake as well, kind of defending his actions after getting, what's the word when, reprimanded?
Yeah.
Getting reprimanded from Bruce. And he does kind of realize it was a little ridiculous of me to ask Katurah to go to Rocks. And I agree with that. I think it's really hard to convince anybody in this game to go to Rocks, where their fate in the game depends on a rock draw. I would never want to come all that way on Survivor just to let my fate be decided by that. And so I always think it's a crazy argument and a really hard thing for people to try and persuade.
Yeah. Katurah apparently was not going to go for it from the beginning, and Jake supposedly knew that, but still voted for Julie anyway. So it was kind of confusing. It seemed to me that Jake was just voting for Julie just because he was sick of just following the norm and, following the herd. He wanted to stand out a little bit.
I get the feeling he didn't actually know that, and he's just trying to save face.
Yeah, it's possible too. Because, if he did know it and he still voted for Julie, it's kind of a weird move.
Yeah.
He does say that he would like to stop sucking at Survivor. He's been sucking so far. Like to stop sucking. And I think that's a great first step.
Yeah.
Julie is considered that bridge burned, though. She could never work with Jake again.
Nope. And during their conversation, Jake says to her, "I lied to you all day yesterday. Did you believe it?" And she's like, "I did believe it." And I'm just like, "Oh, Jake, you're just digging a grave here.
Yeah.
Don't say I lied to you all day yesterday. Wasn't I good? Did you believe me?"
Yeah.
I would just say, it was so last minute. Caleb got in my ear. He started whispering sweet nothings to me. And before I knew it, bam, I was writing your name down on the parchment.
Nobody this season is handling these things well.
No, they're not.
You are exactly right. That's exactly how he should have handled it. Just apologize and say, sorry, I got scared. I wanted to work with you all day. And yeah, it was last minute.
Yeah, there we go.
Caleb, right? He's gone. He can't say that anything. You're the only person who knows what happened between you and Caleb, who's left on the beach.
Blame it on a dead man.
It's morning time on the Dakuwaka beach. The boys are out sitting on the beach watching the sunrise, and all the girls are in the shelter. It is now a 6-4 split. 6 women, 4 men. And the women are in the shelter talking about, let's do a women's alliance.
Yes, queen. That was my reaction at the time that I just redid for you now.
Oh, I see. The best part of this is when Kendra is talking about, getting those boys out, and then says something along the lines of they're all probably sitting on the beach just shaking in their boots thinking, oh no, they're going to vote us out. And then it cuts to the men, to their conversation. And Bruce is saying to Jake, tell me about those tacos.
Yeah.
That's right.
This reminds me of like the viral TikToks going around, and it's like me thinking my boyfriend's cheating on me, and then it will show like a clip of their boyfriend doing some way dumb thing, like trying to like sniff a pasta noodle up his nose, something crazy like that. That's like basically alluding to, you don't gotta worry. That's the vibes this was giving me.
Yeah, when the boys get together, the girls, they're on the back burner. They're an afterthought. They've got some crazy harebrained schemes that they want to talk about. Or it could be much simpler. They could just talk about tacos. But it seems like at this point, everybody wants to get Bruce out. All the women want to get Bruce out. Kelly especially, Kendra also have joined Keturah in just being so sick of Bruce.
Right. As soon as they all confirmed they wanted Bruce out, that was written in stone for me that he was going to win immunity. That's how it goes in Survivor.
That's how it goes. It really does. It happens so often.
Right.
And I wonder how much of it is just editing, but we seem to always see them making plans to vote someone out before an immunity challenge.
Right.
And that person wins immunity.
That's what I'm saying. If you look into the editing of things, I feel like they would not show you all of them agreeing to get Bruce out just for them to do an immunity challenge and then for somebody else to win and then for them to not get Bruce in the end anyways. That's a waste of screen time for them. Screen time is so precious for them. They're not showing you anything unless it's going to come into play later.
After I watched this montage, it kind of made me think that Bruce is a lot like Andy from The Office. When
Explain.
Andy and
because I love Andy and not so much Bruce so far.
Yeah. Well, Andy has his moments, and so does Bruce.
Okay.
But when Andy and Aaron are dating, but they haven't told anybody in the office yet, there's the episode where they go to Dave and Buster's.
Uh-huh.
And Andy's saying he doesn't want to tell anybody in the office that they're dating because he just doesn't like the drama. He hates the drama. And that's what Bruce is in this whole season.
Uh-huh.
At the very beginning, he's like, I just want to be Uncle Bruce, just laid back. Don't want to tell anybody what to do. And then as soon as something happens, he's right in it. He just loves the drama.
That's so true.
But Kelly's at this point, she's sick of the drama. She's tired of the drama. Again at the Dakuwaka beach. A boat rolls up with a large table, sending confusion through the camp.
Man, this was amazing. I loved it. They have these guys coming on a sailboat.
It was like a little motorboat.
Oh yeah, potato in my mind.
Yeah, okay.
They float on a piece of wood of some sort.
A shaped piece of wood.
These people get off and they set up this like mysterious looking 2-tiered table, and they have no explanation. They set this whole thing up and everybody's just like, what's happening? I've never seen a table like this on Survivor before.
There are like baskets on it with each of their names on the baskets.
And they like lay out they put a name tag on each of the baskets, and all the castaways are just like, what's happening? What's happening? I feel like they're almost trying to ask the people who are setting it up. And those people were under like strict orders, like don't say a word.
Yeah, they were just random crew members. I
Yeah.
thought one of them was Sifu though. He was wearing like the red shirt,
Uh-huh.
and it was kind of hard to see because he was wearing like a big straw hat
Uh-huh.
that I swear Sifu would wear.
He's like, listen,
And it was
I
kind of
can't go
covering
home
his.
yet.
I know. It was kind of covering his face a little bit, and I thought, is that Sifu? It wasn't. Just a random crew guy.
they set it all up though. And then right when it's like completely set up, that's whenever they give Kendra, astrology girl, the, what do you call that?
Like an
letter,
envelope,
an
yeah,
envelope with some
with the
details
message on it. Yeah, she reads it.
Before she reads it though, she reads it.
silently.
What'd you say?
She reads it silently.
She reads
to
it
herself.
silently, yeah. And then like makes a face. And let me just tell you, like, I didn't realize it, but that's one of my biggest pet peeves. That's so annoying. Like, okay, read it out loud. And even if you like glanced it and saw it, don't make a whole big fuss about it and hold it over our heads since we don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. She ate it up.
She
She's the type
did.
of person, if you play Clue with her and she'd like to solve, she looks at that envelope with the murder and the murder weapon in the room that it happens in, and she just like makes kind of a general reaction. You don't know if it's good or bad, and she just puts it down and doesn't tell anybody. And you have to open up the envelope yourself.
Exactly.
I would hate playing Clue with Kendra. She announces to the beach, the Survivor auction is back.
And here we get my second. Yas, queen!
I hope the mic is picking up those snaps. Yes, it is back, but with a twist. A never before seen twist on Survivor. The Survivor auction is back, but they have to earn their money. There are 40 small bamboo canisters with cash inside, US dollars inside of these canisters, and they are hidden, scattered across their beach. When this happened, nobody knows. Must have been happening while the table was getting set up.
Yes, that's so true. I
'Cause
didn't
they
think
were on
about
the beach
that.
the whole time.
Or in the night or something like
Yeah.
that.
There are 40 of them spread out. It's a Survivor Easter egg hunt.
Oh, that's what I was thinking too. You
Mhm.
read my mind.
It's just like that. They say go, and they have to sprint out. They can only get one at a time. Get these containers, bring them back to their basket on the table, drop it off, and then go out and try and get another one.
Right.
They,
What are the rules on stealing other people's?
I would guess that's frowned upon.
But is it forbidden?
What are you talking about? Like out of their baskets?
Yeah, so like everybody's gone hunting in the forest jungle.
In the forest.
They're foraging in the
The
forest.
tropical forest.
But they're out there looking and you're alone at the table with the baskets. Is it illegal to take one of somebody else's and put it into your basket?
I would guess yes.
All
I
right.
would guess that the basket is a safe zone. Also, your hands are probably a safe zone. So you can't be going out and snatching them out of other people's hands. Things like that.
Okay, all right.
They start. Everybody is sprinting out, except for Bruce. He decides to have a seat, put his shoes on, take his time.
He's like acting too cool. It bothers me so much.
He just is too old, you know? He can't be bothered with running around for money.
He reminds me of contestants on Amazing Race. Every season on Amazing Race, which is a show where duos race around the world, what would you say, just in the goal for $1 million, basically?
Yeah, they're racing for $1 million.
Doing different challenges and whatnot, but the key word is Amazing Race. It's trying to be fast.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always a couple who just is so slow. They have no hustle, and it kills me to watch them.
Yeah, they're always first or second out.
Exactly. They don't make it far. The nonchalantness,
Shalancity.
that attribute is not needed in a game like this, and it drives me nuts. Like, he's just like sauntering around, like, well, I guess I should get looking for it, and it's like, yeah, no, duh.
Yep. I put in my notes, Bruce is going bankrupt. He's not going to find a single thing. That's what I thought. Not only was he slow, I mean, his whole point was, I'm going to be slow and deliberate. He was slow and also terrible at looking.
Oh, what's that quote from Space Jam?
Oh, Stan. Yeah, he says, I'm not very fast, but I'm slow.
Yeah, exactly.
He's also not very good at looking. So he's walking by him. Bruce walks by one. Drew picks it up
I
and
loved that.
looks directly at the camera like, what's wrong with that guy? And then we get a good talking head where Drew is just disgusted with Bruce's work ethic.
No, honestly.
This was like a millennials versus Gen X moment.
Uh-huh.
At the end of the day, they collect their baskets. They all open up their little canisters. Each one has a different amount of cash in it. They're loaded with $20 bills. They count up their money. Dee leads the way.
I've got a breakdown of everybody's dollar amount.
Okay, hit me with it.
This is an order of least amount of money to most.
Mm-hmm.
And also, ironically, least amount of value to most amount of value to me.
Okay.
All right. Bruce, $80. Jake, $340. Kendra, $360. Julie, $420. That's the only one that I would say is a little out of ranking here.
Okay, so these are the players themselves, the value they hold to you in the show.
Just in life, the value that they hold to society.
Okay.
Katura, $480.
Mm.
Emily, $500. Drew, $520. Kelly, $700. Austin, $700. And Dee, $900.
Dee was hustling out
Yes,
there.
she was.
Yep. She easily leads the pack with that 900 smackaroos. And we get to the auction. The moment we've all been waiting for. We're at auction time. And we get a treat here.
You know I love a good flashback.
Flashback, a montage of old Survivor auction moments from seasons past. Some of these were great.
I broke this down as well.
Okay.
Did
I
you-
have one that I took note of.
Yes, what was it?
It was Shambo's muted anger.
I forgot about Shambo.
At getting the fruit bat soup.
Yes.
That was a legendary moment. She says, "Oh, dude."
Yeah. Shambo was known for saying dude and her mullet, of course.
She's great.
Here are some of the auction items that it highlights.
Mm-hmm.
A hamburger, Nutella being licked off of a hand, fruit bat soup, a milkshake, beer, a shower, and peanut butter.
Peanut butter also being licked off of a hand.
By Cochran.
By
my
Cochran.
favorite.
This is like this Survivor auction. I had forgotten. It always turns into like an LSD fueled rave. People are just licking chocolate cake off each other's hands. Like people are just stripping down and showering in front of each other.
Maybe that's why they had to get rid of it.
It's getting wild. They walk up, they get in there. I mean, Jeff looks 12 in all these flashbacks. Right? And then we get current day Jeff. And man, I'm sure he's used a lot of sunscreen over the years. But if he could go back, he'd probably use a little bit more.
You'd be right about that.
It's finally time. They walk up to the beach for the auction. Dee walks in like she's ready to buy the whole store. She's got all that cash in her pocket. She's pumped. Jeff tells him the last time they've done this auction was in 2015. It's been 8 years since
and that's
they've done the
impossible because
Survivor
2015
auction.
was like 3 years ago.
That is... Well, it feels like 3 years ago because we rewatched so many seasons during COVID.
Seriously.
During the pandemic, we
Right.
watched a ton of seasons, so it doesn't feel that long for us. But it has really been a long time since they've
Right.
done this auction. The main reason that it went away is because they always snuck in some sort of advantage, like a steal a vote or a hidden immunity idol or something like that.
It was or an advantage in the next challenge.
Yes, something like that they would sell. And once they did that the first time, they did it as a surprise during one of these auctions. And after they did that the first time, after that, everybody would just save their money. Nobody would bid on anything. And Jeff would get so butthurt about it. He would take it personally that nobody would want the food. Everybody would just save their money and everybody would put their money in and try and buy this advantage. And so they just stopped doing the auction because it wasn't fun anymore.
Right.
So Jeff announces at the beginning of this auction, there are no advantages. And there are a few more twists. Obviously, everybody has a different amount of money. That's new. That's different. They had to earn that. The third thing, which I'm curious to hear your thoughts on, is Jeff pulled a number between 6 and 15 out of a bag blindly. And that number determined how many items were going to be sold at the auction. Jeff knew it, but none of the players knew.
Right.
So the auction would end without warning. All the players knew is that it could be up to 15 items or it could be as little as 6.
Right.
So they knew that it was kind of in that range. And Jeff tells them that whoever has the most amount of money left at the end of the auction loses their vote.
Amazing.
A good twist to incentivize people to spend their money sooner rather than later.
Right.
Kind of a convoluted structure to this auction, but I think if you can wrap your head around the way it works, it actually worked really, really well to get people to bid on things and buy things.
I agree. I loved it.
It did kind of beg the question, did people need to then have different amounts of money if you already had this kind of incentive to spend money?
Right, that's true.
Because you could have just made it, if multiple people have the same amount of money at the end, they all lose their vote.
Sure.
But hey, they did it this way. I'm not mad about it.
Well, because then what would happen? Would it just be the first person to say, if they all got $500, would it just be the first person to say $500 got it?
Yeah, exactly. That's how
Yeah.
that's what I'd assume. But we get into it. Spend away. I thought here I put in my notes, Bruce is saved because everybody
Yeah.
has to spend their money.
And he only had $80.
He only had $80, but he'll get to buy something.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I have yet another breakdown of what was sold, who it was sold to, and how much it was sold for.
Me too. Should we go through each one
Yep.
by one?
Let's do it.
All right. The very first item. Because some of these items, for those of you who haven't watched an auction, a Survivor auction, sometimes they sell items blind. They're covered.
Right.
And they're not always good. For example, Shambo spent all of her money to get a little bit of food. And it was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. It was a couple of dead bats
Yeah.
in boiling
In water.
water. Yeah. Very first item. You've got this one?
Yep. Uncovered salty pretzels and a cold beer. Sold to Kendra for $360.
All of her money.
Right off the bat.
Man, those pretzels, just looking at those pretzels was making me
Making me
thirsty.
thirsty.
Yeah.
I knew it. Good for her.
Yeah, good call. Good call. Spend all your money. Your vote is now safe. You're not going to lose it. You've got $0 in the bank.
I have to say, a beer and pretzels, it sounds like the least appetizing thing to me on a hot day on the beach. I don't know, just like pretzels making your mouth dry and a beer. It doesn't sound appealing to me, but she was really gung-ho for it, and I'm glad she got it.
She did it for her biological father.
I wanted to touch on that later. That was the cutest story that she told.
Yeah, we'll talk about it
Okay.
later. Next item, uncovered French fries, ketchup, and it looked like a Coke, but I thought it's probably a Pepsi. That was sold for $500 to Kelly. And as she's eating that French fry, Emily, just watching, is moved to tears.
Because Emily went for it in the auction, and she had some really sad looks on her face during
She
that. I
was
felt bad
so
for her.
hungry.
Yeah.
You could just tell. She was so hungry.
Plus, you want to go for these uncovered items that you know that you like.
Emily will continue to chase her
Yes.
hunger in the next item.
Yes. Covered item sold to Emily for $440.
It was covered. She was so nervous.
She was so nervous.
It was bat soup. She even said it.
Yeah. Yeah. And she gets up there and Jeff lifts the cover off of it, and it is a beautiful charcuterie board with a glass of white wine.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. I was like, yes, for Emily. I love this for you.
She was so excited. She does like a dance.
Uh-huh.
Jeff says, "Who are you?"
I loved that part. It was so funny. She's like, this is what I'm like when I'm fed.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was amazing.
It's so true. Sometimes people will be like, when somebody gets mad and people are like, oh, they showed you their true colors, I kind of hate when people say that because I'm like, not really. You just put them in like the worst case scenario.
Yeah, they're
put
in
them
a
up
pressure
against the
cooker
wall.
with no food.
Yeah, exactly.
Next item. We're on item number 4 here. Gets uncovered. And it's a chocolate milkshake. Dee does not hesitate. She spends all $900 on this milkshake.
So stupid.
Really? I thought this was a smart move.
If you're playing it to be smart, I think it's a smart move. This is hard to explain, but I just think I don't really feel like it was in that way. Like, I don't think it was a strategic move as much as it was if it was just like a milkshake. Yum, I'll do that. But it's
Really?
like, don't you think there's going to be something better? But I know that's the whole like thing you have to weigh.
Of all the desserts, the chocolate milkshake is the best one. Or that, or like a warm chocolate chip cookie.
What?
I should have eaten before the podcast. I'm so hungry. And of course, that's our 4th item. 5th item comes out. It's covered. Bidding on this, you're just bidding on it to save your vote.
Exactly.
You have to be 100% sure this is a bad item.
This is a covered item that is sold to Katura for $480. It is 2 giant, juicy looking fish eyes.
Those fish eyes were the size of mangoes.
That was...
They were huge. They were so big. It was unbelievable.
Wait, we forgot about the important thing, though.
Jeff offers...
Yes, before he uncovers it.
Before he uncovers it, because Katura is saying the same thing that we just said.
She's panicking, right.
Yeah, this has got to be bad. And Jeff says, oh, you think this is bad, huh? I'll offer you a trade. He pulls out another covered plate, puts it on the table in front of her and says, you can have this instead if you want.
So
it's your
stupid.
choice.
Of course you trade it.
You take the trade. Use all your logic that you use to convince yourself already that this is going to be a bad thing.
Exactly.
Instead, she says, I'll keep what I was convinced was bad 2 seconds ago. There's no way you'd be offering me something good.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
And she gets the fish eyes.
And then Jeff's like, encourages her to try it.
Yeah.
Oh, she like lifts it up and for like
she like sucks
the butt
on
of it. Yeah, she like licks one of the dangly gooey pieces off of it. Oh.
Jeff says, well, Katura didn't want it because she puts it back. She doesn't want to eat it. Jeff says, anybody else want to bid on this? And Austin buys it for $100.
I really liked this.
Yeah, it was great. It's like, yeah, I'll eat it. Sustenance. And he bites into it like an apple.
Oh, gosh. And he's like, it's just like sashimi.
He takes a bite into it basically for free because he still has more money than almost everybody else out there. So he buys the fish eyes, takes it back. He really only eats the couple of bites.
Right.
I think after a couple of bites, he realizes, I didn't need this protein that badly. I think I was doing okay before.
I mean, we all have that friend that'll just eat something weird for the show of it. And that's what he did. He took the bite, he got the screen time, and then it was like, all right, I'm done with this.
Those sound effects, there's no way those were the real thing, right?
Definitely.
Really?
Fish eyes are squishy. They're squishy.
Sounded like someone like playing in a tub of Jell-O. Is what it sounded. The next item is the other covered item that Jeff offered to Katura. He doesn't uncover it. Drew bids on it. Now, keep in mind, this is the last guaranteed item up for sale.
Right.
Anything after this, we don't even know if there's going to be another item up for sale after this. Drew buys it, says he's hoping for a meal.
He's seen $520 for it.
Yeah, he says, I've seen a lot of appetizers so far, looking for a meal. Jeff uncovers it, reveals a bowl of candy.
You can't make this stuff up. Gross looking candy too, and I love candy.
Drew is so disappointed. And Jeff cannot believe how ungrateful Drew is.
And Drew's like, I mean, I'll take it, but I'm also open for negotiations. And Jeff's like, sit down.
Jeff is like, you're lucky I don't take this offer off the table right now.
Yeah.
I'll cancel the transaction.
I am with Drew. That's what I was saying. Like, same thing about a milkshake. Like, if I'm starving on a beach, I guess the whole premise is that you would take anything. But when I'm so hungry a dessert isn't what sounds good to me. Like, it almost feels like that would make you sick to just eat like a bowl of candy when you
That's
haven't
what he
eaten
says.
anything.
Yeah, he says it'll go right through me. So
Oh,
I thought
didn't understand that, but you're right. He did say that.
I thought he was, worried about the weight gain. Just like a moment on the lips is forever on the hips. I thought that's what Drew was worried about. But no, he's worried about the runs.
Yeah. Next up, we get a giant slice of pizza. Costco sized, but not Costco quality.
Absolutely.
This looked so freaking gross.
It looked awful. Looked like uncooked.
How could they do this to us? Is the budget that low these days?
Yeah.
That was such a gross looking slice of pizza.
When Austin bites into one of those pepperonis, it kind of breaks like it's made of Play-Doh.
Oh,
and flips up.
gross.
It looks awful.
And out of obligation, he says it's better than the fisheye, but we all know it's not.
Yeah. The way he said it, though, he was almost acknowledging, only barely, though.
Yeah. I'll take a screenshot and post it on the Instagram, but that was a giant slice of pizza sold to Austin for $600.
Yeah, $600 for that slice of pizza should be a crime, honestly. Price gouging in this economy, this survivor economy, is ridiculous. Every item from now on is not guaranteed.
Right.
That pizza could have been the last item. And Jeff kind of hints that it might have been, but then he says, it's not. We've got one more
That's
item.
one of the reasons why I loved this, is that after every single one, Jeff could say, that item was not the last one.
That's right. He's the master of indirection.
Yes, he really is.
He gets you every time.
It's like whenever they used to suspect the merge, and they'd all get together and for the challenge, and Jeff would be like, everybody drop your expectations.
The next item is uncovered. It's not a food item this time. It is the toothbrush, toothpaste, and mouthwash, offering just a moment of cleanliness for your mouth. This has got to be the worst one. I'd rather take the fish eyes.
Seriously, this one sucks. Do a shower.
It's a shower for your mouth.
But you know what I'm saying? Like,
Julie buys it because she doesn't want to lose her vote.
Right.
And it's her last chance at
for
a guaranteed
$420.
$420 for toothbrush. I've never gone 15 days without brushing my teeth.
Right.
So it's possible that this is, just as good as food.
The question is does she get to keep the toothbrush?
I don't think so.
Now that would make it a little bit more worth it.
Yeah. I think it was one of those disposable ones. You get on an airplane. You get from the dentist.
Yeah, I was
You
gonna
don't get
say.
toothbrushes on an airplane.
Also, the ones your dentists give you are not disposable.
I'm thinking of headphones.
Okay. Okay, next item is a chocolate cake. It is to be shared by 3 people. Jake buys it for $300 and chooses to share it with Julia, which was good because he needs to get Julia's good graces, and Bruce, heaven knows why.
I think her name is just Julie.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you
her-
don't get screen time.
You can just call her Mama J. That's right. They force them to eat it like animals. No
with
utensils.
their hands, and they have a timer.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, Bruce has no hustle. What's he trying to prove here?
I couldn't even watch.
He pinches 3 bites out of it, the teeniest little bites, and you could see the other people are like, Bruce, go hard, grab a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff even kind of says when the timer stops, I'm taking the plate away, but whatever's in your hands you can have. And so Jake and Julie grab fistfuls of it,
Mm-hmm.
But Bruce, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. It's like Bruce on
From Matilda?
Yeah. He's the opposite of that, though.
Come on, Brucey.
Yeah, seriously. He grabs a few little pinches of it, and then whenever Jeff's like, okay, your time is up, he grabs a medium-sized piece and then breaks it off into a small piece and takes that.
Yeah. Other Bruce, Matilda Bruce, would be ashamed
He
of
would be.
Bruce's effort. He is ashamed. Present tense. The next one. We get teased one more time. Will there be another? Will there won't there? If there's not another one, Kelly is the one who loses her vote. She's got the most money. It's Kelly and then Bruce, and then Emily still has $20 left or something.
Right.
So Jeff tells him one more item up for sale, at least, and Kelly is excited to buy it no matter what it is. Jeff uncovers probably the best one so far.
Yep.
It's a margarita
Mm-hmm.
and a PB&J.
And chips.
And chips.
It's a meal.
It's a meal.
And the Survivor PB&Js look so good to me.
They do.
They're on like thick white bread, and they have jelly and peanut butter dripping off of it.
If I ever go to Fiji, I'm ordering a PB&J.
That doesn't surprise me.
It's funny though, because before Jeff uncovers it, she says something along the lines of, "Come on, I want a margarita."
Uh-huh.
And Jeff pulls it up and he's kind of delicate with it. And Emily, the financial analyst, is like, he was delicate with it. Kelly, there was a 100% chance that is a margarita.
Yeah. Put your money into that stock.
Man, I want to go to Vegas with Emily. She'll be counting cards, telling me where to, when to call, when to fold. She's giving me all the odds. That's what I want.
That made me so happy for Kelly. That was the cheapest, that was the least amount of money somebody spent and the greatest reward by far.
And it's her second thing. She got the French fries. So she ate the French fries. And then later,
I did not
she gets the PB&J and the chips and the margarita.
Oh, she's stuffed.
Oh, yeah. I can't believe she...
Good for Kelly.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Drew is chewing on his gummy worms.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are no more items up for sale. And Bruce loses his vote.
Because he has no hustle.
He's got no hustle. He swapped his vote for a couple of pinches of chocolate cake.
Yeah.
And he's in a bad spot. Hilarious for the rest of us who are watching. But bad for Bruce. Anything else before we move on from the Survivor auction?
I wish there was maybe just a few more covered items or maybe a few more bad items, because I love it whenever people get tricked into something bad.
Yeah.
It's always hard when it's somebody you love,
Mm-hmm.
but like it's just priceless when somebody gets the gross thing, Yeah. It also made me want the food challenges back in Survivor. Remember that? Jeff would just put up like gross things like...
They'd like blend them.
Uh-huh.
Like
yeah. He put like... I remember that one. He put a squid into a blender.
Survivor cocktails. And he would just blend things up and they had to drink it.
Right.
Yeah.
It made me want more of the old Survivor.
Yeah, no, it was good. I thought it was a big success. Everybody had fun with it. A lot of people got to eat. Some people didn't get to eat. And you get a lot of that. And I did like that there were no advantages at stake.
Right.
But there was a disadvantage
exactly
at stake if you didn't spend your money.
Mm-hmm.
So there was still incentive there. The incentive was in the right place to make it a fun challenge.
Right.
I thought it was a big success. Back at the Dakuwaka Beach, Kendra shares her story, why she was excited about the beer. She meets her biological father for the first time when she was 18.
Yeah, it was such a great story. So she had grown up thinking that her
adopted father
was her biological father. Found out when she was 18 that he wasn't. Got her biological father's information from her aunt. Reached out to him. And so it seemed that they have had a wonderful relationship since then. And he loves beer. And I guess maybe that's something that they bond on. And so getting that beer at the auction was like special to her on a few levels.
Good for her. It's a good character building story. It's a good story to kind of build up some sympathy, some empathy, kind of round you out as a person to the jury.
Yes.
Later. I did think maybe she's sharing this a little bit too soon, but who knows? It's not so much of like a moving story that it would probably really sway anybody's votes.
Right.
So I didn't think it was really that too soon.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Because you get people like Adam, the winner of Millennials versus Gen X.
Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert.
Who had his mother was dying of cancer back at home.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't say that to anybody the whole time he was out there until he was on
the final
until he was
three.
in the final three pleading his case for the $1 million. he said that then, and that was a good time and that was a big enough thing, big enough character building that it definitely, it worked for him.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, if you got a story like that, you got to save it. And sometimes, it can be respectable to not use a story like that.
Right.
But this is not one of those stories. This is just a kind of a feel-good story. Kendra sharing a little bit about herself, being vulnerable. I thought it was a good time. And it was a good fit in this episode,
right.
I thought. After that, we move on to some strategy. And immediately, this is why all men or all women alliances, they just don't work. They can't work. There's always a snitch.
There is. And there's always, Emily's not a girl's girl, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always somebody who's not a girl's girl, not a guy's guy, who can't roll with the all girls, all guys alliance.
Yeah, can't, do the girly thing or can't bro out with the dudes.
And so she goes and she tells Drew, just so you know, they're thinking about doing all girl alliance. Then Drew says to the camera, so the girls think they're being sneaky by starting an all girl alliance, but they're not. As if he got that information like through his own merit.
He did with his wit and his charm. He pulled Emily in.
It just annoyed me that he felt like he could talk down on it as if he built a spy shack and heard them saying, let's do an all girls thing. Like, dude,
the girls think they're being sneaky after a girl told me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he is really on point here where he says, that's full of holes, right? The all girls alliance full of holes. The gender-based alliances, they just never work.
Right.
They never work. They might work on a smaller tribe at the beginning of a game, but they never work on a merged beach.
Right. Because of exactly what Emily says. She has a really good relationship with two boys on the beach. Mm-hmm. And so throwing that away to go with the all-girl alliance
just doesn't make sense.
Right.
So Emily's the snitch. But Drew has a plan to pull Keturah in because he knows that she hates Bruce. Austin's in on it. Dee's in on it. Julie's in on it. They all want to get Keturah in. Everybody wants Bruce out. Really, Kelly's ready to vote out Bruce. Kendra's ready to vote out Bruce. Jake would be on board, I think, if they were to ask him to vote out Bruce. Everybody hates Bruce. They're at the water well. They're talking about who they might vote out. It's Keturah, Drew, Austin, and Dee. Did you see the inception that happened here? Drew planting the idea to get Keturah to be the one to throw out Bruce's name.
This was actually super great gameplay done by Drew.
Mm-hmm. He says something along the lines of, since, this is kind of our first time working with you, just as like a sign of trust, we'll follow your lead. Who do you want to vote out?
Knowing that she's going to say Bruce.
100%. He knew that she wanted Bruce out. He was three dreams deep in this inception mode. Right? He was on the verge of falling into limbo with Leo DiCaprio on those railroad tracks. He was so close, but he pulled out of it and planted the idea, and Keturah suggests Bruce. And just great. I thought it was, good gameplay. Drew's making some moves.
I know, he is. We gave him a lot of grief for saying that he was going to be the smartest person ever to play this game. Mm-hmm. So far, he hasn't lived up to it until this moment.
We've been absolutely roasting him over on our TikTok. So it's good to see him redeeming himself. From here, we go to the immunity challenge, but we take a quick break, and we'll take a break as well. With Christmas less than 2 months away, now is the perfect time to head over to Jancy & Co. to snag some of those great holiday deals for that special someone in your life. Macrame, embroideries, weavings, Jancy & Co. is here to make the perfect alliance with your holiday shopping needs. For a limited time, save 26% with code HOLIDAYMERGE at Jancy & Co. on Etsy and at jancyand.com. That's code HOLIDAYMERGE, one word, at Jancy & Co. on Etsy and at jancyand.com.
And just so y'all know, 26% off is huge for Jancy & Co. They hardly ever do sales that big. So if you want to get something, now is the time.
That's JANCYANNCO.
Welcome back. I have got a challenge breakdown for you. Are you ready?
I am ready.
With one arm, they must hold onto a rope that is tied to a log containing 1/3 of their pre-game body weight. At regular intervals, they have to slide down on their rope, making it more difficult. The last person standing wins immunity.
There it is. As we saw what the challenge was going to be as they were walking in, I thought, I don't think I've seen this before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was just thinking this week that it's been a long time since we've had something where they did something based off of their pre-game body weight. They do that sometimes.
Yeah. As soon as he explained it, I remembered that we've seen this challenge before, but they've redesigned it a little bit.
Right.
Just with the way it looks. So I didn't recognize it off the bat. I was excited for a new challenge and was disappointed when it wasn't a new challenge. But there is a twist to this immunity challenge. Jeff offers up a large bag of rice to the tribe to take back to get them through the rest of the game.
Right.
But 4 people have to volunteer to sit out of the challenge.
Right. So immediately, who is it that says they'll sit out? There's 2 people.
Immediately, you have Dee is willing and Emily. They're both willing to sit out. So they need 2 more people.
And Gatura's like, oh, we just need 2 more people. Like, we just need to agree that we won't get the people out who sit out for the rice. And Jeff's like, do you want me to help you out? And she's like, yes, help us out, Jeff.
I'll add a little something to help you make your decision.
And Jeff just pulls out this giant knife. Pulls out a giant knife and just stabs the bag of rice.
Slashes it open in the bottom, and rice starts to pour out.
And I'm like, wow, Katura, famous last word. She's like, yes, please.
Yeah, that was sick. Savage Jeff. He's tired, sick and tired of people quitting. He's slashing bags of rice with a knife.
So then they all start panicking.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew is like, I'll sit out.
Drew, immediately.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're just panicking. They're like, we need 1 more person. That kind of bothered me. So I'm like, Katura, obviously you're going to do it. Why'd you wait so long?
Yeah, she wasted so much rice.
So much rice.
Jeff slashing that rice bag, that's going to be an all-time survivor moment.
It's so funny. And the way that he set it up.
Yeah, it's hanging. Yeah. It's hanging on a rope, and he just slashes it at the bottom. Everybody was shocked. I gasped audibly.
It was amazing.
When he stabbed that thing.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, no.
Oh, what was so funny is after he stabs it and they're waiting for somebody else to stand up for it, Drew says, is it running out? Like, no, duh.
Can I catch it?
Yeah. What was that question? We're all watching the rice literally run out of the bag. Like, yes, it's running out. It was such a funny question.
Oh, he was so
Katura
sad.
Jumps out as well, so they get the 4 people, and I'm just thinking, have these guys never seen Survivor? This is a negotiation. Every season, you negotiate with Jeff. You could get him down to 3. But
this is what I'm telling you. Jeff was in savage mode.
Uh-huh.
Didn't want to negotiate with Drew about his crappy desserts.
Yeah.
And he was not negotiating about the rice.
No, he was not.
All he was going to do was slash a bigger hole if he tried to talk any sense into him.
I just think that once it was stabbed, people's common sense went out the door.
Mm-hmm.
Drew is not the type of person that I ever would have pegged to sit out on a challenge like this.
Mm-hmm.
Because logically, it's not the right move.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was shocked that he did it, but I just feel like whenever you can see the rice literally coming out of the bag, losing
like it. A lot.
Yeah, like people lose their rationale.
Drew, just the man you want in a time of crisis. So decisive.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as that rice started coming out, he immediately, I'll sit out.
Yeah.
Volunteers. But the rest of the tribe, the rest of the group, move on to the challenge. A really boring challenge to watch, if I'm being perfectly honest. They do their best to amp it up with the music and the rope sound effects and, you know, zooming in on the sweat dripping off someone's brow, right. All that good stuff. But really, they're just standing there holding a rope.
Right.
And it's not that painful, just as their hands get tired.
Yeah.
So
I love the endurance ones. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what it is. When you explained it just barely, I'm like, yeah, it's so true. The editing is the only thing that can spice it up when it's just boring. I don't know why I like them so much, but I just do.
I mean, they do a good job editing it.
Yeah.
They make 5 people standing around holding a rope really intense.
Yeah. Right?
It begins. Jeff immediately calls them all fat. Jeff says, remember, that log holds 1/3 of your body weight. That's a lot of pounds. And Kelly says, thanks, Jeff.
Speaking of Kelly, her and Austin, an unlikely duo, team up.
They just have a chat
Yeah, I
in the
loved
middle of
that.
the challenge.
They're just like giving each other updates on how everybody else is performing in the challenge and what they think the other person's going to do.
Yeah, I thought that was great. But unfortunately, Kelly is the first to lose it. She goes down after moving down a few sections, and she's out of the challenge. Kendra is the next to drop out, leaving 4 left. You have Julie, Austin, Jake, and Bruce. Now, Julie, she had a 5-head strategy going here. Did you notice what she was doing?
No, I don't know what 5 head means.
5-head. You have a 4-head. So a 5-head means even bigger brained than the normal person.
Is this a real thing or did you make it up?
No, this is a real thing.
I must have a 3 head.
It's the internet slang of the day. She's got this strategy. Everybody's using the knots, right? Tied in the rope that ties off the different sections. Their hands are at the bottom.
Right.
So the rope is a little bit longer. Julie is not using the knot. She's got her hand up against the closest knot to the log.
Right.
So her hand could slide down the rope to the next knot, but she's holding it 3 or 4 inches closer to the log.
Interesting.
Which lessens every inch counts, right? Every inch you add to that rope, it gets heavier and heavier.
Sure.
So by moving her hand up just 5 more inches, she's holding significantly less weight than everybody else.
That's really cool. I like that you caught that because I really admire when people have these unique ways of thinking about and doing these challenges.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what makes like Tyson. Tyson is, in my opinion, known for doing some unique things like that. In his season, they did an obstacle course and everybody could choose which obstacles to do in what order. And he went and chose to do the hardest ones and the furthest away ones first while he had the most strength and energy, while everybody went to do the easiest ones first.
Yeah.
He won that challenge. Boston Rob, when the keys are hanging on like the spirally thing and they have to unspin them, and people would painstakingly like guiding it around and around. But then Boston Rob found out you could just hit it and it would just and come off.
Mm-hmm. Those kind of game-breaking type ideas are always fun to see and will win you immunity.
Right.
They get to the final section here, so nobody has any knots left. We have Julie, Austin, Jake, and Bruce, and Austin drops out first in this group. Next is Jake, which Jake is commentating quite a bit. He's being very verbal.
Yes, he is.
He's shooting for that main character spot. Now that Caleb's gone,
yeah,
Jake is he's doing his best to fit into that role. But left are the 2 oldest people in the game. You have Bruce and Julie. Bruce has been oddly quiet, really all episode.
Yeah, I
mean,
would
he's
agree.
been too cool for school in the auction challenges, but all throughout this challenge, he hasn't really said anything.
Right.
It looks like both of them are about to drop, and Julie is the first.
That was
She
so
drops
sad.
out. It was sad. I was kind of rooting for Julie.
Me too. I teased Julie about, not getting screen time and whatnot, but I do like her. Like, I feel like in real life, she's probably super awesome. I really wanted her to win this one. And, of course, it helped that she was going up against Bruce, who I don't really like.
Yeah. Bruce wins it, though. Afterward, he's talking about it. He did it for his daughter. And I thought, dang it, don't make us like you, Bruce.
I know. This was a likable moment for him.
Just come on now. Just slow your roll with the likability stuff.
Don't be cute talking about your family back at home.
We want to hate you, Bruce.
Yeah.
You're the villain. We go back to the Dakuwaka Beach. Everybody is pissed that Bruce has now won immunity.
The music is new this season, I'm telling you. We had some really intense music here just to emphasize how much everybody's on edge.
Yeah. definitely. Kelly had some good talking heads, some like really funny,
Oh yeah.
entertaining. She calls Bruce the old ball and chain.
Yeah.
Can't get rid of him. I thought that was good. I thought that was funny.
And it shows like the
And
montage.
it cuts to a shot, of Bruce telling her to come along like a dog while they're walking along the path. Like, come on, girl.
Then we see Jake talking with Emily and was it Dee?
Yeah, Jake is talking with Kelly and Emily. That's who it is.
That's right. Emily and wait, what'd you just say?
Kelly and Emily.
Kelly and Emily. And they have already decided that they want to get Jake out.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're just talking to him, trying to throw him off the scent. But like they won't say a name. Jake won't say a name. And it's like painfully obvious that it's Jake.
Yeah.
Even to Jake.
Yet another obvious vote out because nobody knows on this beach how to come up with a phony plan.
Seriously. Or to just throw a fake name out there.
Uh-huh.
And I am so proud of Jake. He's immediately on to them. They basically say like, well, it's not you. Just don't play your shot in the dark, whatever you do.
Yeah.
And they turn around and then Jake looks at the camera and rolls his eyes like a Jim Halpert moment. It was so exciting.
The actual camp.
Yes.
It wasn't a talking head.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it was literally one shot. They turn around, he turns around, but then turns his head back to give us that look. And I just loved that because I like knowing that these realizations are in real time.
Mm-hmm.
He could see in the moment that they were BSing him. He played along for them, and the second they turned around, he acknowledges to us, I know these guys are lying to me.
Yeah, they're full of it. Definitely. So now he's openly idol hunting.
Which was a great move to idol hunt, but I just wish he would have done it more privately. I don't know why he was going all out like this.
I mean, he knows it's going to be him. He's got no reason to try and look privately because they're going to vote for him either way.
I don't know, but that's the thing is he doesn't know that. Things can change.
That's true.
I just think a public idol search, unless you're 100% sure it's you, which I mean, I know he thought that, but as we both know, it wasn't.
Yeah, but at the time it was, I think.
And you think him doing this is what deterred that?
Not necessarily. It may have. And I think, going out when everybody is going to vote you and you're looking for an idol, it's not seen as an act of, oh, I can't trust him. He's suspicious. It's just, it's a more forgivable desperation. Like a desperate idol search is way more forgivable on the beach than a sneaky trying to get away with an idol search. And I see that.
But then it also, if you live to see another day, it puts a target on your back. Everybody's wondering if you have an idol.
Yeah, it's true. He's searching. They send someone to go babysit him, which what's the point of doing that when he's doing it openly? I guess just to figure out, just to try and see if he finds one or not.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, Drew is narrating this whole thing as if from a script. It's incredible. But Drew then suggests maybe we should get Kelly out instead and says, Jake may have an idol. Bruce may give him his idol. We just never know. So maybe we get out Kelly, we disarm Bruce, and then we have the numbers to split a vote the next tribal. Finally, somebody is thinking about numbers to split votes.
Right.
I thought this was great.
Yes, me too. Something that I love about Survivor is the lights, and by the lights I mean the sun, really help with continuity.
Mm-hmm. On
Love is Blind, they have all the contestants to drink out of gold cups, and on the internet they're known as continuity cups so that they can edit it to be, so you can't track the liquids, and that way they can edit scenes to be in whatever order.
Mm-hmm.
I like that in Survivor they can't really do that very much because you can see in this scene when Drew brings this up to a group, it's darker outside. Mm-hmm. The day has come and gone, and they're getting really close to start walking to tribal council. You could tell that this is sort of his last minute idea. And I like that you can see that time has passed. They have sat on this Jake thing all day.
Yeah. And it's received lukewarmly. This is right before tribal.
Right.
And his alliance all kind of says, I don't know, I got to think about it. I really want to vote Jake. I'd rather not get Kelly out. And so we go to tribal at this point with no closure. We don't know. I had no idea what was going to happen. If I was a betting man, I would have bet Jake probably.
Me too.
But I am not a betting man unless I was to go with Emily to Vegas. We get to Tribal Council. What a sad start to Tribal Council. I thought that Jeff was finally turning into Savage Jeff. And now he's getting roasted by the entire cast. All the castaways are roasting him for using the knife on that.
They weren't roasting him. They loved it.
They're laughing at him.
For being cool.
For being dramatic. And I just thought he's all the way gone. Savage Jeff is gone. The players have no respect for him anymore.
No, I did not
Even
get
if
that
he's
vibe.
savage, they just laugh it off.
They saw it for what it was. Iconic.
It was iconic for a brief moment. As they're asking questions, Jake doesn't care about the questions.
No, he doesn't. Because he's just trying to get out his bachelor speech, as I call it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like trying to find a way to tie this speech that he's memorized back at camp into this question that Jeff's asking him. And he fumbles, and then finally he's just like, what was the question? Never mind. Can I just make a pitch?
Exactly. And then so he's given the floor to make a pitch, and he embarrasses himself.
Uh-huh. It's not a good pitch for a guy who's a lawyer.
He just can't. Seems exhausted and mentally worn out.
Seriously.
And starving, all to the point where he can't really string a coherent sentence together.
Right.
Now, Keturah is kind of suspicious of him, throws him under the bus for being a lawyer. What does Keturah do for work again?
She's a lawyer.
Oh, she's a lawyer. That's right.
I love that for her.
Finally, though, Jake makes a good pitch about, starting to split votes. Like, enough with these unanimous votes.
Right.
That's not Survivor. Make a play. Somebody's at the bottom.
Right.
Bruce and Kelly, really everybody from Original Bello, has just given up on numbers.
Right.
They've given up. They just think that every vote is going to be like this moving forward, I guess.
Yeah.
Or they just completely underestimate how unified the original Reba members are.
Right.
And don't realize they've pulled in Emily as well.
Yep.
So Jake is 100% right in this moment, but
Yeah.
it seems like his pleas are falling on deaf ears, or at least that's what he thinks.
And he has a great line, whether planned or not, when he's saying how silly it is for everybody to put, all 8 votes on somebody. He says, if I play my idol tonight, or a shot in the dark, the way that he says my idol and then stumbles and corrects to an idol sounded so genuine, but it stirred up some drama.
All that stuff I was just saying about how he couldn't string a sentence together and he seemed exhausted. As soon as he dropped that line, I thought, was that whole thing?
Yeah.
The long con.
Yeah.
He was just trying to convince everybody that he was exhausted and wasn't thinking straight.
Yeah.
And was in a state of mind that he would accidentally let slip that he has an idol.
Yeah.
Genius.
It was incredible.
Like we're watching Shakespeare. Jake ends up playing his shot in the dark. He does not have an idol.
He's like, can we get Caleb to blow on this?
That's right.
Caleb's in the jury, of course.
Caleb's in the jury. Everybody places their votes. Obviously, Jake doesn't have a vote for playing the shot in the dark, and Bruce doesn't have a vote because he had the most money left at the end of the auction.
After all of the votes are submitted and Jeff is opening up the scroll to see if Jake's shot in the dark is safe or not safe, Jake has a really cool line that I think, this is a good last line if you're about to go out. And he says, does lightning strike twice?
That is a good last
It's
line.
cool, right?
That's right. Caleb, Caleb was watching on the jury. He wanted another safe so bad.
No, he didn't.
Really?
Yeah, he wants that glory. I mean, I would.
I bet he wanted the safe just to watch the fireworks.
Right.
Watch more chaos happen to these people that just voted you out.
Yeah.
Plus, Jake is the only one who didn't vote him out. So he probably has a
That's
rooting
true.
interest for Jake. Unfortunately, it is not safe. And Jake is not immune. And votes will count against him.
Right.
First 3 votes are read, all for Jake. The next 5 votes come through for Kelly.
Ooh, I was absolutely shocked, though.
Drew's plan was accepted by his alliance.
Yep.
All 5 of them vote for Kelly. Kelly is shocked. Now, this is what we talked about last episode.
I was so excited.
Kelly showed some real emotion, some real bitterness.
Before Kelly says anything, though, Jake goes, "Whoa!" Then he notices that Kelly's like in tears and goes, "Sorry. Whoa."
Sorry. Whoa. He tones down his whoa.
Yeah. It was like all caps, whoa, lower caps, whoa.
He was saying to the Survivor editors, I'm going to give you a better whoa.
Yeah.
Let's take 2 on my whoa.
Yeah.
So I don't sound insensitive.
I wrote down the things that Kelly says after she gets voted out.
Mm-hmm.
She's shocked.
Mm-hmm.
She looks back to Austin and says, "Did you do this?" Looks to everybody and says, "What the heck, guys?" And then looks to Emily and says, "You did this?" And she's so mad she forgets her torch.
She forgot her torch.
Yes.
Because she was so upset. Because, we like Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
This is sad. But this is what we want to watch.
Mm-hmm.
That real emotion. She
Right.
cared so much and was so blindsided.
Yeah.
That she's pissed.
Right. And she says something like, "I still love you guys, but I'm just like..."
Yeah, I'm just so in shock right now.
Yes. And I'm like, yeah, that's understandable. Let us see those emotions. I hate when people just like have this like pre-rehearsed thing that they knew they were going to say when they got voted off.
Yeah, when it goes immediately, they're completely blindsided, and it goes immediately to, well, I love you guys. Good luck. You guys are killing it out here. Like, nobody wants to see that.
And now
really.
we're in a new part of the game where everybody kisses up to the person right as they're about to leave. It's like whenever your server comes up to you and they're giving you the check that you're about to write the tip amount on, and they've been like neglecting you your whole meal, but then they're like, "Anyways, can I get you anything? It looks like you need a refill. Did you guys want a box? Anything else? Dessert?" Like sweetening it up. Mm-hmm. That's like what all these people are doing to Kelly right as she's leaving. Everybody wants to give her a hug. Everybody's like, "I'm sorry, we love you." They're just tooting her horn.
They're tooting her horn. It was sad because she, like Caleb, is one of the better players this season.
Right.
So it's sad to see her go, but honestly, it's worth it for the tribal drama.
Uh-huh. It is.
It's what the show's all about. So not really that sad because it's such a great final tribal council.
I agree. As she's walking out, Bruce says to her, "Love you, kid," as if he's like a hero who's been mentoring a teenager.
Yeah. What he did say, he said right after that, he said, "We'll talk soon."
Yeah.
And all I could think was, I hope so.
Yeah. Don't worry, Bruce. You're going to Ponderosa in a few days
tomorrow,
too. Yeah.
But let's get to our voting stats.
Okay, for our voting stats for week 8. Bruce with 1 vote. D, 1 vote. Drew, 2 votes. Emily, 1 vote. Jake, 3 votes. Julie, 2. So Jake now has the most votes at 3.
There we go. And he got them all in this episode.
We only have 2 advantages left in the game, by the way. A hidden immunity idol from Bruce and a safety without power from Drew.
It's not true.
Really?
Austin has a hidden immunity idol.
Oh, there we go.
Because they voted out Kelly.
An advantage amulet.
Which is now a full-fledged hidden immunity idol.
Get out.
Kelly went home with the other amulet.
This is incredible. Of course, Austin was down for that.
So Austin now has 2 hidden immunity idols.
I'm so happy for Austin. I hope we get a talking head from him being like the villainous laugh, like, "I got my revenge." This is looking great for his... Yes, this is looking real good for his resume.
Oh, definitely.
I saw an interesting stat over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It was about people's growth update on Instagram. So, like, how many more followers they've gained from the season.
Okay, the contestants.
Yes. So, I'm sure you can guess the top person who's gained the most followers.
Gotta be Caleb.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And who would you think the second was?
Drew.
No.
Austin.
No.
Kelly?
Yes.
I actually
shocked.
could see that.
Well, why not Emily? It seems like Emily seems to be the hero of the season.
I thought Kelly had some funny moments.
She did. This was a fantastic episode for Too Little Too Late, but...
Too little too late. Rip. Let's get to the best move and worst move. I've got worst move.
Go ahead.
Gotta be Bruce, which this is a little bit ironic because He saves himself with the immunity idol. But Bruce is absolutely, his lack of awareness about the numbers and where the alliances lie, he's digging himself deeper and deeper into a hole.
Right.
Like he's just willingly allowed his alliance members to get voted off time and time again.
Seriously.
And sometimes targeted them with Caleb. And now he's in a spot where all that's left is him, Jake, and Kendra. But Kendra hates him.
Right.
And Katura's moved to the other side.
Yep.
Bruce is basically alone out here.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not going to have that immunity necklace to save him every time. So his time is ticking. And his only chance to get to the end is to be so disliked, so hated, that people start just dragging him along.
Right. But then you have to have like some sort of proof that you were trying to be hated all along, and that it was all a strategic gameplay.
All a ploy. Yeah, all a ploy.
Yes.
Which it's not.
Right.
That's who he is.
Well, my best move is interesting because you actually touched on it earlier about D, but I wasn't convinced that D did this, but I was convinced that Kendra did this.
Mm.
I thought it was really smart that Kendra, the first item that came out at the auction, she bought it and used all of her money. Later in her talking head, she says, yeah, it was special because the beer with my dad, but really, if that was a bowl of worms, I still would have bought it for all my money because I'm not losing my vote. And this is what I admire about certain players on Survivor, when they can look past the hunger, the weather, and the tiredness and the exhaustion, because those things are temporary. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I admire that she could look past whatever the reward was just going to be and just get rid of that money so she didn't risk losing her vote at all, because she knows the most important thing in this game is her vote.
Definitely. I thought it was a good move as well. Let's go on to our mailbag, shall we? Mags's question was, loved ones visit versus the Survivor auction. Which is your favorite and why? And then the more important question that I asked was, Bruce, love him or hate him?
Or do you love to hate him?
Or, yes, do you love to hate him? We got some good answers. Unfortunately, more answers came through for Mags's question than for my question. Quinn from California, who answered both questions. First, he answers your question. He says, I personally would want to see the loved ones visit over the auction. The loved one visit is one of the greatest things Jeff can say after, do you want to know what you're playing for? Not only does it make for an intense challenge, but you get to see another side of most players, not just their cutthroat survivor image they have to put on most of the time to survive.
So true.
He then answers my question about Bruce. He says, Bruce, where do I even start? I love to hate him. The drama he creates in camp is money for the viewers. Personally, I don't think I could take a metaphorical knee to him like Caleb. Props to the Canadian Batman. He really grinds my gears, but I hope Kelly stays on for a long time to keep Bruce on so I can keep popping the popcorn and enjoying every word that comes out of his all-knowing, smug little face. Thank you, Quinn from California. Well worded. Well worded. I feel like my reading didn't even do that justice. Next we have Micah in Belgium. It says, I don't think the real question should be family versus auction. I think the question should be an auctioned family visit. Just imagine the drama when when Bruce sees his wife walk out only to have her go on a loved one's reward with Katura, who outbid him. Should have read this beforehand. I can't get through it. Or the moment when Kendra excitedly bids and wins a mystery loved one, only to find out she now gets to spend the afternoon with Jake's grandma instead of her loved one. I also think making the contestants choose between getting food and seeing family would be fun, especially if the family members are right there in front of them holding the food.
Get this guy on the Survivor team right now. I need to see this.
Oh, does Bruce really want to check his son by asking if he knows? Okay, I gotta start over. Does Bruce really want to check his son by asking if he knows he's holding a chicken leg? Or does Bruce want to eat a chicken leg and tell his son to go home? Make the contestants decide between the one thing they can't stop thinking about, food, and the one thing they always say they are playing for, family.
I love this idea so much.
Thank you, Micah. Daisy in Utah says, "Oh man, hard to say, but I think I like the auction more. Loved one visit always makes me cry, and then it makes me cry even more when the half of them have to leave without actually being with their loved one. The auction is just a good time for everyone, except for the person who spends all their money on a cow tongue. Also, hate is a strong word, but I am ready to see Bruce leave and never come back." Thank you, Daisy. Kate in Iowa says, "I am all for the auction, especially now that the season is less days. 26 days away from your family just isn't long enough to get the emotional response we need to get a good loved one's visit." Thank you, Kate. Good point on that. I'm not sure. I'm sure with all the trauma that they go through, even in the shortened amount, they would really have some emotional moments with their families and with their loved ones, but it won't be as dramatic for the loved ones.
I was just going to say that.
What's the new question of the week this week?
I want to know, do people agree with Jake? Are people playing hard enough and voting well enough?
That's a good question of the week. As always, you can email your answers to themergefeastpod@gmail.com. You can also follow us on our social medias and message us there. We're on Twitter @themergefeast, or you can find us on TikTok and Instagram @themergefeastpod.
So far, this season is really turning around. It started off pretty lame, I'm not going to lie. And honestly, it's just ramping up, and I hope this is just the start of it.
Yeah, we've had a couple of really fun, exciting episodes in a row. Yeah, 2 or 3 here that have been great. And Jake says it as he sees that people have started to vote. When people are voting for Kelly, right? Jeff's reading these votes for Kelly. Jake says, "Oh, dang, people are playing Survivor." And he's 100% right. It feels like people are finally waking up. You got to be counting votes. You got to be making contingency plans, and people are doing that. And that's what I love to watch. I'm excited for next week's episode.
Yeah. I will link in the show notes, Instagram post for screenshots of things we referred to in our episode.
Can't wait to see it.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week.